This is your Vancouver real estate market update for November 2020, and we're getting into it right after this. Hey everyone, I'm Craig Veroni with RE/MAX Masters Realty. I'm your local real estate agent here in Vancouver, BC. In today's video, I'm going to cover what's happened in the Vancouver real estate market through the month of October, and we'll be discussing whether there is a crisis in Vancouver's real estate market and whether or not we're heading for a crash. Taking part in that discussion will be my special guest today, Reza Sabour with Sabour Mortgages. I shoot a ton of videos about what it's like to live, love, and own here in Vancouver. So if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell as well so you can be notified the moment that I have a new video out. I really want you to be able to stay up to date on all the latest tips and insights into the Vancouver real estate market so that you can become an expert too. Let's first look at last month's stats. There was a 29% increase in the sales recorded from October 2019 to October 2020, and a 1.2% increase from the homes sold in September of 2020. Last month's sales were 37.4% above the 10-year October sales average, making it the second highest on record for the month of October. So what's all this talk about a housing crisis in Vancouver or that we're headed for a crash? The month of September was the highest on record for the past 10 years, and we just had the second highest October in the past 10 years. Also, in a recent article, Vancouver ranked first in North America for high-tech software job growth. According to the 2020 CBRE North America Tech 30 report, Vancouver leads the 30 top tech markets in the US and Canada with a rate of 29.2% in the current period. So to get another opinion on things, let's bring in my special guest today, Reza Sabour with Sabour Mortgages.
First of all, thanks for having me here, and it's a pleasure to join you on this. I feel like that the doom and gloom of Vancouver's real estate market has always been in the news. If you look back a year, 5 years, 10 years, there's always, these little snippets of when is the big crash coming. Obviously, COVID-19 is the biggest sort of unpredictable event in our lifetimes. It for sure has had an impact on the economy. It has definitely had an impact on real estate, absolutely. But when you look at the demand, both internationally and nationally, for Vancouver specifically as a city to live, we seem to have always weathered the blips that have come and gone. Obviously, remains to be seen what a major impact COVID-19 will have on the Vancouver real estate market as we head into the winter and, Q1 of 2021. So far, we've seen nothing but prices going up. We've seen nothing but back to multiple offer scenarios in a lot of, neighborhoods. We're seeing obviously historic interest rates being at the lowest they've ever been in the history of Canada. And that obviously has fueled a lot of this pandemonium to get into the real estate market from a lot of people who have maybe been sitting on the fence. And, and COVID has had an interesting impact on people. They're thinking to themselves, well, if I have to work from home for the foreseeable future, a lot of companies are probably going to continue working from home even after the pandemic is over, just because they've realized it's more efficient or cost effective. If I can't travel for the next year or two, who knows how long it'll be before mass travel is back,
Right.
Then I might as well, really invest in the home that I'm going to live in.
Obviously, as you said, COVID-19 has had an impact on our market. It's not like, just because the market is doing well that doesn't mean that every segment of the market is in that boat. There are definitely, number of different segments of the market and areas in Vancouver that have been affected by the pandemic and the slowdown. And of course, now that, numbers seem to be climbing again, Dr. Bonnie Henry has introduced some stricter measures. So there are definitely things that have an impact on the real estate market. And I like your point in saying that, Vancouver is a little different. We do weather these storms very well. We're quite different from other markets in Canada. One of the things about, I think, and maybe you can speak to this as a mortgage broker, here in Vancouver, because the prices are so high for real estate, we don't see a lot of people putting 5% down on properties, right? Most properties are over $1 million, which require 20% down anyway. And, things that are under the 1 million mark that don't have to have a 20% down we do see most buyers putting close to that, 15, 20% down on those properties. There's not a lot of high ratio mortgages. What are your thoughts on that?
The average first-time home buyer that's buying a home, usually less than $1 million, is kind of relying on the bank of mom and dad. We're seeing a lot of gifted funds. We're seeing a lot of money being passed down from the boomers down to the next generation of their kids. And so yes, absolutely. I think because it's such an expensive city, because the average even one-bedroom condo in the core of the city is still going to cost you $600,000. It isn't a situation where we're seeing a ton of people buy those with 5% down, because you have to think about it. 5% down plus the costs of the insurance. You're now at maybe 97 or 98% indebted. So once you add that insurance premium in, it's not a 95% loan, it's really like a 98% loan.
Right.
And then you're sort of very, very close to, if there was a correction in the market, you would be upside down right away. And so, we aren't seeing as much of that. And certainly as a mortgage broker, we're not encouraging people to leverage themselves to that level, especially if they're on the lower income side or average income. To your point, when we're voted #1 tech hub in North America, or we're voted #1 or #2 best cities in the world to live in, or #1 quality of life, you see all these charts that we keep ranking on.
Yeah.
Well, that gets international attention. And when that gets international attention, especially from the United States, where COVID-19 has been handled so poorly, tech companies realize that. Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, they're like, wow, our country is doing a horrible job managing this pandemic. Let's get a bunch of our workforce out of here and stabilize them in countries that are doing better. And so Vancouver's always attracted tech, and now we're attracting it in a much, much bigger way. We're seeing large companies invest headquarters here, or their second headquarters here, or just an entire team here where they are based. So I think for those reasons, we may see a bit of a dip for sure in the condo market, usually not more than 5%. Prior to the pandemic, we saw some major dips in the detached market, double-digit dips in some areas. That seems to have essentially eroded as people want bigger homes during the pandemic, and they want more space. We're seeing the detached market become super hot again, and people are skipping the townhouses and going right from condos to houses if they can afford it. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see how it's had an impact on people's desires for a dwelling.
What are your thoughts on what sort of the Q1 will hold for us in 2021?
It's interesting because from a mortgage perspective, what we're likely going to see in 2021 is rates going back up.
Yes.
They may not go back up sharply, but we likely will see a gradual increase in fixed rates, especially. And then in terms of how the U.S. Optimism under the new regime and under the new democratically elected president does in the first Q1 or Q2, our growth in terms of GDP and in terms of our projections tend to really follow our biggest trading partners. So if the new president comes in and essentially reverses a lot of Trump's anti-Canadian nationalistic policies, and we have a much more coherent relationship, you can expect to see markets stabilize, rates start to go back up. And we've already seen this. We saw it with the announcement last week of Pfizer coming up with a potential vaccine that's 90% effective. Within a day of that announcement, Canadian bond market yields spiked to a record high that we haven't seen in over a year. And we started getting letters and emails from our lenders in the mortgage broker channel telling us, hey guys, just a heads up, we may see some rate increases as a result of this. They haven't happened yet, but if bond yields continue to go up like this, you can expect fixed rate mortgages to follow. In all of the optimism that's happening right now, it's going to actually have a reverse effect on mortgage rates. So, if you were sitting on the fence, may be a good time to try to jump. Yeah, I would just say to clients, anyone out there who's obviously looking to purchase, get yourself pre-approved sooner than later, especially if you're very close to just making a decision to jump in. you may want to consider jumping in now, at least for a pre-approval. Usually a pre-approval can be held for up to 120 days. So that gives you 4 months. And if rates go up, at least you're protected. And if they don't, you haven't lost anything. But definitely a good idea to partner with your real estate agent and make sure that you're covering your bases with a pre-approval.
And I'll have a link to Reza's website. So if you're looking for a great mortgage broker, you can reach out and contact him.
When you're buying or selling a home, knowledge is key. And the SnapStats market reports are a fantastic way to arm yourself with tons of knowledge about your market area. To download those full reports, simply click on the images below to download either the Metro Vancouver, Greater Vancouver, or Fraser Valley report. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, down in the description below is a link to a sample report. Please go ahead and click on that, review it, and if you think that it's something of value, trust me, you are going to love these reports, then simply fill out your name and email address to get instant access to that report, and you'll also start receiving that report monthly. Hey, thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed that video and you want to learn more about Metro Vancouver neighborhoods, I have filmed over 40 neighborhoods around Metro Vancouver, and you can check them out right here. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button here, because on this channel, you're going to find everything you need to live, love, and own here in Vancouver, so don't forget to subscribe.